The non-duality that Buddhists talk about is not healing the mind-body split. It is healing the self-world split. Obviously, healing the mind-body split is a necessary prerequisite. When the Chinese are writing about meditation, they talk about two aspects to it. One is samatha, or calming the mind, and the other is vipassana, insight. If we think of meditation in primarily terms of consciousness, then we'll interpret both of those phrases in that light. So we will think that calming is making my mind peaceful and empty, and we will think of insight in terms of seeing, and we may think of it in terms of a special kind of seeing, a wise seeing that only Buddhists can have. But the calming is the calming of our whole body mind, and the insight isn't really seeing, it is a direct experiencing of non-separation, which is not some woo-woo mystical stuff, but which is gradual and progressive and real. Because there is a modern tendency to think of meditation in terms of consciousness alone, and often to disregard the body, we ignore the fundamental other pole of meditation. So consciousness is one pole, but the other pole is vitality, aliveness. If you think of it in terms of what distinguishes living beings, we would say, well, consciousness of some sort or another, and being alive. But that being alive, or vitality, has not had a very promising history in modern Western thought, and it tends to be ignored. The problem with ignoring it is that if we're just thinking in terms of consciousness, then what we become aware of is the contents of consciousness. So primarily thoughts and emotions. And we think that that's what our experience is. And we ignore or misunderstand the aliveness of the body. Dogen didn't misunderstand it, which is why he referred to the vital matter of letting the body leap. But we might just pass over that. If we don't understand the centrality of vitality, of aliveness, then we'll misunderstand the purpose of meditation. We'll essentially see it in terms of emptiness, stillness, vacuity, space, and so on. And we'll misunderstand the contents of our experience. So we will bracket all of the contents of our experience, our thoughts, our emotions, etc., as being something which needs to be eradicated, or at least set to one side. But there's all the difference in the world between, for example, persecuting voices, or persistent, unpleasant emotions, or habitual patterns of thought, and the natural aliveness which our body has, which will show itself at a level of sensation, and as it were going upwards, will also show itself as an energetic patterning underneath our emotions. But if we're not aware of that, then what we'll see is simply the, as it were, the top layers of experience. So the way that that body energy is then manifested in perceived emotions and perceived thoughts. So it's as if we have like a landscape where the deeper half is missing. Or, if you want to use another metaphor, it's as if when we focus on consciousness alone, we're like a magician who can go anywhere and can see anything, but who is suspended a short distance above the ground. The magician cannot fall onto the ground of all being. And the reason why they can't is that they require to fall through the short distance of the alive body.